In this class, we will discuss thinking in spectrums as opposed to thinking in black and white. People often try to simplify life by reducing it to two polar opposites rather than a spectrum of values sitting in between these two extremes. This polarized thinking not only oversimplifies reality, but also causes us to experience extreme emotional swings and even take extreme measures in reaction to us only thinking in black and white. Say you have a best friend that messages you every day. You might describe them as the best friend ever, which is extreme, and therefore your feelings about them might be extremely favorable. Say that this friend of yours does not reply for a whole day without a reason. If you are the type of person who would consider this a betrayal of friendship or make your feelings switch to the other extreme, where this person becomes immediately terrible and not the friend you thought they were, then you may be used to be thinking in extremes. Especially if that friend calls you the next day, tells you of an accident they had, and that's the reason they didn't pick up your call. If you will then immediately forgive them and consider them again the best friend ever, then these huge swings in opinion and emotion are not only harmful to your psyche, but are also very irrational as they do not represent the complexity of life. Furthermore, they showcase that you do not think in spectrums. Say that you think in spectrums, not in extremes. On a spectrum of friendships, there are many descriptions that sit in the middle. Friendships can range from terrible to bad to neutral to good to great and finally to the best ever. Now, for the sake of this argument, let's assume that messaging every day is a measure of a great friendship. If you place your friend on the great spot on this friendship spectrum, then while you expect them to message you every day, if they don't message you for a day, it's fine because you have rated this friend reasonably on the friendship spectrum. And for a great friendship rating, it's okay not to message each other every day, and you shouldn't expect an apology if you didn't hear from them for a day. So do you see how switching your thinking from extremes to spectrums will immediately help you view the world more accurately and even think more maturely? If yes, then how do we go about thinking in spectrums? To better understand how to think in spectrums, we need to understand normal distribution. Normal distribution is a concept in statistics that represents distribution of data. If you measure most things in life and put the data on a graph, they will form a bell-shaped curve where the values of most data sit around the center. Many parents, for example, see their children in school as either hardworking students or not. If they're not A students, they must not be working hard enough, right? That is because they see student abilities in two extremes, either excellent or poor. But if they understand normal distribution, they will know that students' abilities fall on a normal distribution where there are very few poor students, very few excellent ones, and most will be average or around the average. And that's how life is. You can't change it. If you measure the same students again on their athletic ability, you will also see a bell-shaped curve distribution where there are very few poor athletes, few gifted natural athletes, and most will be average athletes. Athletic clubs understand this very well, and that's why they conduct selection rounds to find this part of the curve. To drive this point further, let's take all the academically gifted students in school and put them in an advanced learning class where the exams are ultra hard. These previously A students will also fall in a normal distribution. You'll have relatively few poor students, few students who are now the best of the best, and most will be average. So it doesn't matter how you break the data apart, it will most likely fall on a bell curve normal distribution. There are, of course, other types of distributions, but normal distribution is the most common. So applying this type of thinking on our current and past friendships, we can see that we had really few terrible friends, few really good ones, but most were just average friends. You didn't experience bad friends because you deserve it. Most of your friendships are not average because you're boring. It's because friendships, like most things in life, are more normally distributed. So in order to think in spectrums, we need to consider all the middle values between the two extremes we used to focus on before, and understand that most things we measure in life will most likely be centered around the average value of that spectrum.